The Toronto Blue Jays have made a trade, and after DFAing Cavan Biggio, they have sent him to the Los Angeles Dodgers in exchange for a minor league prospect. It's not the sexiest deal in the world, but they found Biggio a new home, and they got something in return for him instead of losing him for nothing. So I'll break down the trade and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Goss. The Jays just made a trade. They sent Cavan Biggio over to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and if that scares you, it should. He's probably going to become the best player in baseball now, and the Jays are going to look stupid. I don't know what ended up happening towards the end of the relationship between Biggio and the Blue Jays, but obviously he wasn't interested in going to the minor leagues, and he wanted to find some playing time elsewhere. I don't know if he's going to find that consistent playing time with the Dodgers, but hey, it's not my problem anymore. That's not my team. So the Dodgers, I mean, this is a move for them that adds some versatility. Their outfielders haven't been great this year, but pretty weird that he's going to one of the best teams in baseball when he couldn't find a spot on one of the most middling teams in baseball. But I'll digress. Still, the Jays made a trade. They send Biggio to the Dodgers, and they get a decent prospect in return.
Yeah, I didn't even know if Biggio was going to end up getting traded, but the Dodgers is terrifying, Peter. Let's just dive right into it. You can see here, it's dropped about 20 minutes ago as of the time of recording. The LA Dodgers are requiring super utility man Cavan Biggio in a trade, and you can look at his stats this season, about 600 OPS, and then on his career, he's doing a bit better with 720. But the fact is, he got traded for a right-handed reliever called Braden Fisher, and he's headed to the Blue Jays for Cavan Biggio. He split time between AA and AAA this season, has a 5.68 ERA with 30 strikeouts. Fastball low to mid-90s, and you are never going to get anything super crazy for Cavan Biggio at this point of the season or his career. But Peter, getting sent to the Dodgers is interesting. He obviously denied his option down. I would assume the Blue Jays offered to give him the option down to AAA while they figured out their stuff. Looks like he declined it. And now he's headed to the Los Angeles Dodgers, where I assume he'll find a bench role. But I think the biggest thing, Biggio will have a chance to win a World Series this year with the Los Angeles Dodgers in the bench role. I don't know exactly where he's going to fit, but there's roles for this guy on many teams. It just wasn't going to work with the Jays. And even though he can't really hit anymore, he's still a decent player that can find some sort of role on a lot of teams. I didn't know if the Dodgers are going to be one of them, but maybe they'll turn him into a great player again, which would be very unfortunate.
Yeah, well, I just can't see that happening. I can't because of all the peripheral stuff, and I don't wish bad luck on him either. I'm not going to do that, but let's look at the peripherals right here, Nick. Like he doesn't hit the ball hard. He's not going to start smoking the ball at 115 miles an hour just because he's going to the Dodgers. I don't see that happen. If it does happen, then there's a serious flaw and there's something wrong with the Dodgers developmental system because they must be putting little special stuff in some of that water over there. But I can't see him becoming this five-tool player and becoming an everyday player. I expect him to play even less with the Dodgers. Mookie Betts is their starting shortstop. I'm not sure who their everyday second baseman is,
He
but
won't be
I'm
starting.
he won't be starting. He won't be starting. And Cavan Biggio couldn't start on a team that is fighting for a wild card spot. And now we're talking about a World Series contender, the team that made the most moves in the offseason, spent the most money. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that drastic of a turnaround. Will he improve? Maybe. Maybe the Dodgers have a better farm system or developmental system. I don't know. But again, I wish him well in his newest venture here, but I wouldn't hold my breath about that if I'm a Blue Jay fan. I wouldn't worry about him becoming something that he's not. It's too late in his career for him to develop further and to become that player that we all wanted him to be. I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, and you look at the peripherals. These are a bit, this was from like a week or two ago, but Peter, none of the peripherals say that he's going to hit the ball well. He does two things well, and that's play defense and take walks. And other than that, he doesn't hit the ball hard. He doesn't do anything like that. And if he goes to the Dodgers, and I guess the one thing is there'll be more protection around Cavan Biggio when he's in there because the lineup's better for the Dodgers, but there was a decent amount of protection around him for the Jays. And you look at his career stats here. He had some really good years. You look at his first couple years on the Blue Jays, and they were really, really good. and then it literally just slowly started to fade away starting in 2021 when his playing time started to get less. And then last year, he still played 111 games, put up a 710 OPS, which if he was putting up a 710 OPS this season, Peter, he'd probably still be on the team because that'd be one of the best on the Blue Jays with how things have been.
Mhm.
And hitting is down all across the MLB. But I do wish Cavan Biggio the best. And you're looking at the guy we get back, and not super exciting, not super great. But Peter is young, and we're trading a guy who wasn't going to factor into the team for a guy who's young. He's 23 years old. He's put up a 3.68 ERA in 7 games in Double-A after really struggling in Triple-A through 8 games. He's not starting. He's being a reliever for the most part. He doesn't throw super fast, but I think ultimately here it'll be a decent. It's a decent return. Like, it's not someone that's going to blow anyone away or anything like that. But I'm just happy with the fact that we got something back for Cavan Biggio, and I'm not going to complain about it. We got a prospect back. He's 23 years old, and at this point, give us all the pitching prospects we can.
Yeah, well, it's a return, which is better than no return. And that was something that I was worried about when the Blue Jays announced that Cavan Biggio would be DFA'd. So it's good that they're getting something back. And yeah, it sucks that Biggio didn't pan out because he was supposed to be part of this core with
Yeah.
Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Those players progressed. They became all-star level players, and Biggio never even got close to that mark. So it sucks. It leaves a bit of a sour note in Jays fans' mouths. But yeah, it's good to get a prospect back in return instead of just shipping him off and letting him sign with any team. So I knew it wouldn't take long for him to get claimed. I thought it would be a bad team that
Like the
picked up
A's.
Cavan Biggio, but this is not what I expected. And who knows? Who knows how it plays out for him in LA? Maybe he gets DFA'd again, and then we're talking about the same thing. But it's good that the Jays got something in return, and I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, and Peter, I'll ask you this before we wrap up, and I want the fans to leave it in the comment section as well. Um, are you still happy with the fact that Biggio got DFA'd instead of a guy like Daniel Vogelbach, or would you have preferred, even at this point, if Vogelbach was the one who got sent out? Because again, this is the return we got in. You probably wouldn't have gotten a return for Daniel Vogelbach, so at least if you're moving off of one of them, you get some sort of return in exchange. But Vogelbach, I don't think is going to really make an impact on the team going forward at all
No.
either. So I think at this point, it made sense. Biggio wasn't going to be a part of the Jays this season. Probably wasn't going to be a part of the Jays next season because his option was $6 million or something crazy. I think ultimately the fact that they traded Biggio means that. I mean, I think Vogelbach's on the way out anyway, but I think it makes even more sense now that they got some sort of return. Any quick thoughts before we wrap up?
Well, I just think Vogelbach has more value in terms of what the Blue Jays need. They need a guy who can hit for power and who can hit left-handed. Cavan Biggio on this roster was a little bit redundant, in my opinion. There were too many players like him,
Yeah.
like an IKF, like Spencer Horwitz now coming up, like a Davis Schneider who can play multiple positions, who are more tweeners as opposed to everyday guys at one specific position. So I just think his time wore out here, and that was it. Like there was just no more room for him on this roster. Sucks that he didn't pan out, but the Jays had to cut ties eventually, and he was just occupying a roster spot and not offering much in that regard.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Vogelbach's going to be on his way out for another prospect soon, but it made sense to move on from Biggio first. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you want to check out the video from yesterday, click on your screen now. We'll see you soon.